Christy with the Chirp YouTube channel. How are you coping? Are you surviving? Do you have toilet paper? I hope you do. Since I don't know you in person, I can't give you my toilet paper, but I'm giving you digital toilet paper just in case. I am back with one of your extra bonus videos this week. I'm planning to put out a new video each day this week for sure, potentially into next week, where I talk about some of the strategies that you can use at home to help your kids with special needs. My concerns are all about the interactions that take place between kids with special needs and other people, because all of these disorders are based on difficulties with reciprocity, difficulties with interpersonal relationships. And when we get those right, skills blossom out of that. The first research I'm going to be talking about is called responsive teaching strategies, and it was developed by Mahoney and his colleagues. It consists of 5 different strategies that are used when interacting with kids. And what I'm going to suggest is that your homework over the next however long this series lasts, and potentially forever because it's an awesome idea, is to create at least once a day where you're sitting on the floor 15 minutes to half an hour with your child or children. 2 times a day is even better, 3 times a day is even better, but whatever you can accomplish is great. The idea is that you're going to be playing with your child. But because our kids have some social deficits and some communication deficits, we're going to be playing in a therapeutic way. There are 5 different strategies that Mahoney and colleagues recommend during this playing time. And there is good science behind this, lots of different science. And I'll put those links down below so you can read up on it. The strategies are not difficult. They're not tricky. I'm going to discuss one per video. And the strategy I'm going to be discussing today is called reciprocity. Reciprocity means that when I'm playing with my child, I take a turn and then I wait. I'm not taking over this play opportunity. I'm taking a turn and then I wait for my child to do something. The child doesn't have to do exactly the same thing I do, but I might crash a car into his car and then just look at him. Or I might put the baby in the bed and say night-night and then wait. There's a lot of waiting in playing with kids because their processing speed is usually slower because of the different language and cognitive things that are going on that aren't going on in my brain but are going on in my child's brain. Things take longer to trickle down. If you think about how your brain works before you've had your coffee or when you're really tired, you can hear something with your ear and not hear it with your brain. And that's a lot of times what's going on with our kids who have auditory processing delays or cognitive delays or language delays. All of these kinds of delays, it's not that they're not hearing you with their ears, it's that their brain hasn't interpreted what the ears heard yet, and it takes some time. Also, kids are working on trying to figure out what is expected of them on a social level. So we need to give them time to think about that, to look at you and look at your reaction. And if you have a joyful expectation that your child is going to respond, your child is much more likely to respond. So I can't just put the baby in there, looking at my phone, put the baby in the bed and say, night-night, baby, and be scrolling Pinterest or Instagram, because that's not interaction. That is one of the rules of this responsive teaching process, is that there are no distractions during this playtime. The phone is off or in another room or on vibrate. The TV is off. The radio is off. It's all about the connection and the relationship and the communication between me and my child. We need to clear all of the other traffic on the highway so that it's just us, so that my child can focus in on me, and so that I'm very tuned in to my child and my child's responses. And then we're going to take turns. My child holds up a toy and goes, ah. Then I hold up a toy and say, ah. My child might do it again. My goal is that we take turns. And as we're taking turns, if I can make the interaction slightly more social or slightly more complicated in a good way, in a way that my child can repeat, then that's even better. So my child holds up the car and says, eh. I hold up the car and say, eh. We repeat this a couple more times, and then maybe on my turn I say, car, car. And then I wait. And my child may actually start to shape the word. If my child shapes the word, and we continue this back and forth thing, I might say, blue car. And maybe my child will try that. I'm building on what the child gives me on his turn, making it slightly more complex, but slowly. And if my child stops responding, this isn't a test. I'm not trying to quiz my child into using more words. I'm just relating to my child. That's all. There's no pressure in this playtime. I'm not directing things. This isn't a teaching opportunity. It is an opportunity for me to connect with my child on issues that my child is interested in. If my child doesn't play cars, he plays with Q-tips. Hopefully not, because that could be dangerous. I know someone who punctured his ear as a child using a Q-tip. So don't allow your children to play with Q-tips. Let's discuss something else. Let's say your child opens books, children's books, and sniffs them, and then closes them again. This is a sensory activity. You know what's going to happen. I do have a student who does this, by the way. Well, then you take a book. If he puts the book down, you can take the same book and sniff it and put it down. If he holds on to his book after he's done sniffing, you can take a different book. You can make a noise afterwards like, oh, that book smells so good. And the child will probably watch you, even if this is a child who doesn't normally interact very much. Potentially, the child will start to make a sigh after she sniffs her book. Very interesting. Perhaps you make a routine of sniffing the book and then putting it in a pile on the side. And then when it's your turn next, remember this is reciprocity, so you do something and then you wait for your child to do something. And then you either imitate or you build on what the child did. So maybe on your turn you pick a new book and you sniff that one, and then you put that one in the pile. So we have kind of a, what is it called? A fire brigade sort of process of sniffing books. If your child does not respond anymore once you sniff the book and put it down, then you need to wait, because it's your child's turn and she has not responded yet. We want to treat every action that the child does as meaningful. So sniffing books is meaningful. We don't know what it means, but we're going to pretend it means, this book smells great. I love to sniff this book. If the child is holding up a car and just flapping it around, I'm going to assume that means, look at this car. It's my favorite. And I'm going to hold up my favorite card and say, wow. We want to treat everything the child does as being meaningful, even if we don't think it necessarily is, because communicating meaning is one of the things that humans do. And we're training our kids to communicate meaning. So this video is about reciprocity. What does that mean? That was your little quiz. It means taking a turn and then waiting. Take a turn, wait. Wait for your child to do something and then respond. Always with joyful expectation, excited anticipation at the opportunity to connect with your child. This is a really fun thing to do. It should be exciting. I know everyone's tired. I know that we are all kind of fearful and a little churned up inside. However, playing with the kid is one of the greatest ways to forget about our own fears. Tuning into that kid with all of our senses, with our ears, with our eyes, with our hearts, is going to soothe us. Children are naturally curious and fun and interesting, and I need to become a student of my child. And this is a great way to do that. Okay, that's your homework. 15 minutes at least a day of this kind of time with your child. Clear the freeway, one-to-one time with your child, hanging out, doing what the kid likes, taking a turn, and then waiting. And tomorrow, I'll be back with the second strategy that you can use during this time with your child that you are playing. Have a wonderful day. Be well. My thoughts are with you. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.